everybody, my name is Ambika and in today's YouTube lecture we will going to talk about email writing. Now before beginning anything about email writing, I want to tell a bit about myself. Herein, I am going to discuss about email writing, which is part of our English writing skills. And you know what? This has been part of CBSE as well. I don't know, when you move into grade 7 or 8, it actually becomes part of your life from that till, I guess, eternity. So, yes, that is all about email writing. And as I've already told you, my name is Ambika, and we will going to talk about class 7, class 11 CBSE English. And I have done bachelor's and master's in literature, and I've got 3 years of teaching experience wherein I have taught to n number of students, and I have also discussed with them, and I've also in fact taught to all those aspirants who are there for spoken English. So yes, that's all about me. And I'm working with Unacademy, our platform, which is Unacademy. You can use my code, which is AMBIKA. I repeat, which is AMBIKA. And with that, you can get a good amount of discount in that. So please enroll yourself. Now, what are the objectives of email? Like, why do we have to do it? Like, what exactly are we supposed to consider while writing an email? So basically, there needs to be a proper structure for this email. Like, how we used to write those letters. So the sender's address, date, receiver's address, maybe the subject and the body of the letter, and then we sign off. How do we sign off? So there are certain rules and regulations which we all have to follow while writing any piece of informatory text. So that is also something which applies on email also, right? The language of email can be both formal and informal depending what sort of relation you have with the concerned person with whom you are sharing that mail, or perhaps you're writing it to the concerned person. So, as per the requirement of the email, write it creatively or efficiently. So, if it is supposed to be a very formal communication or a very formal bond with the other person, the language needs accordingly, right? So, what is an email? Email is the system for using computers to send or receive messages over the internet. It can also be called a computer generated message communicated electronically. So, you know what, while, picking out like what should I talk about email and how email actually commenced in all our lives, how it was invented. So I came across this page wherein I have read that, emails could be sent to one person to the other if both the persons were active at that particular time of the day. Right? For example, I have decided to send you a mail, let's just say at 2:53 p.m. Right? So the other person, the other laptop, oh sorry, the other computer, laptops weren't there. The other computer's person needs to be active at 2:53. Then only the message can be transferred to the other person, right? If not, both the persons were not active at that particular hour of the day, at that particular second or the time of the day, the message didn't used to deliver to the other person, right? So that is how it used to work. Now, why are we in need of the emails? Like, let's just go back to the ages. So, how the messages travel from one place to the other, right? They just talk about the time when the kings and the queens, the royals were there, right? So, how the messages used to work? They used to send a messenger with a drum, and that person used to be at the center hall or in the center of the city, or I mean the village, and they used to beat the drum, and that's how they used to deliver the message which is given by the king, right? So if somebody is being summoned, so the whole village or the city knows about it, that this so and so person is being called by the king, right? So that is how the messages used to travel. Along with that, post that, I mean, not even post that, in fact, maybe during that time or before that, In fact, post that also, the animals were being used to send away or share the messages. Let's talk about Game of Thrones here, right? The famous TV of HBO, wherein the ravens, the bird raven, so on its feet they used to tie a message that used to travel. The raven used to deliver that message from one place, to the ocean, like to not the oceans maybe, but to the concerned person which is living like a far, far, far away. So, in fact, in India, we have got, that particular song which is dedicated to like pigeon, wherein they are sending a message via animals. So herein we have come a long way, and herein in the modern times we have got emails in our system, wherein the concerned person can read it, the concerned person can send it, and it's the best way to communicate with the other person, right? Now, let's check out the components of an email, right? So, an email message can be split into two major parts, right? There are two important components of an email. The first one is header, and the second one is body. Okay, so the header contains information concerning the sender and the recipient. So in header, what are we going to write? We're going to write about the concerned sender, the one who is sending up a message, and the one who will going to receive the message. Are we sorted till here? What are we supposed to write in header? The one who is sending up the message and certain information about the recipient. That is how it used to go when you write letters also, right? So both in informal and formal letters, or in fact letter to the editor, write the sender's address. For example, I'm sending you a message, a letter. I'll write my address first, and then that's how it follows, right? Next is body. The body contains the detailed content of the letter, whatever you want to deliver, like whatever is the message. Let's just say the message of your like whatever the intention you have, that needs to be written there in the part of the body. Now, let's first of all talk about the header. The header is further divided into parts. They are, first of all, it's from. So, from simply means sender's email address. We all have to have an email address if we want to send a message via mail, right? So, that is like something mandatory which needs to be there. All right. Now, next comes to. So, to specifies the person who will receive the message, right? From is the person who is sending the message. To is specifies the person who will going to receive that message. Next comes date or time. So, like we already have that option there, wherein the date and the time will be displayed while sending up a message, right? It will be there when the other person will going to receive it, not the time at what the receiver has received it, perhaps the time with which the sender has sent away the message. I repeat, the date and time, it will tell us when did the sender send us the message, right? It is not about at what time you have received the message, but rather at what time the other person has sent away the message, right? Next is subject. The subject denotes the subject matter of the email. Subject is like, let's just say, a tagline, like whatever information is being there in the mail, it will be simply mentioned with the help of the subject. Now, subject talks about, like, we have to give a specific subject or title to our mail. For example, if you're applying for a leave application, right? So in that scenario, you should, I mean, you have to give a very precise subject to the content, right? We should not send or open emails without a proper subject, because emails are used as carriers of computer virus that will spoil the system and steal private information. So, there is always a boon and the bane of any other thing, right? So with emails also, although there are like a lot of positive things about it, but your sometimes, as we all know that there are always the other side of the coin, and the other side of this email is that sometimes the information of your own, of your laptop, of your computer can be stolen away. So check out the subject title very carefully. If you think it's a spam, if you think it is something which is not relevant to you, then don't open it also, right? Now, keep the subject short and clear. You don't need to write the whole story in subject. The subject needs to be very precise, it needs to be concise and short. Although with the subject only, the receiver should understand what all is there in the body of your mail. You got it? The subject needs to be short, clear, precise, and concise. And with that, the receiver should know what all information is being given by you, provided by you, by simply reading up the subject. Short but specific headings should be, so you have to use short but specific headings, right, while writing up a mail. It is simply a description of the message and it displays the agenda of the sender. So why do we use it? It is simply about, it talks about the description, like what all are we supposed to, like what is our intention, why are we even writing it, what all is there in the body. So that's all in a like a very precise, in a very short format you have to write in the subject. All right. Next comes the sender or from. So this is the sender's internet email address. So herein there needs to be an email address of the sender. If somebody wants to revert the email, the concerned person can presumably send it back to the same email ID. For example, if you have shared something with me, so I can simply, if I want to reply back to the same email, I can send it back to you, right? So the same mail ID can be used for it. So senders is basically, the one who is sending up an mail, right? Next comes date and time. So herein the field contains the date and time when the email was sent. I repeat, when the email was sent. Let's just say you have shared, or let's just say I have sent a message to you. So maybe the internet wasn't working on your end or whatever the situation was. So it will not going to display at what time you have received the message, but rather at what time I have sent away the message, right? So the date and time, it is basically upon when the message was sent. Now next comes to. So it indicates the recipient's address, that is, to whom the email was sent. It simply talks about to whom we have shared away the mail. That person's email ID will be mentioned there in the to. Okay, so to indicates the recipient who will going to receive the mail. That person's information will be there. That person's not, in fact, information we can say that person's email ID will be there in. Now next is CC. It simply means carbon copy, right? CC is simply an abbreviation for carbon copy. So it includes those recipient addresses whom we want to keep informed, but they are not exactly the intended recipient. For example, I don't know, I'm working with a company, let's just say, and I have to send you a message that, you have won a voucher of, let's just say, 1 lakh rupees. Okay, so I have to keep the other persons, my own team members, informed about it that yes, I have sent this message to you. So I will keep them in a loop, right? I will keep them as the seed, as the carbon copy, and I mean, the same message which you have received will be sent to them also. So as I have already told you that CC stands for carbon copy. It includes those recipient addresses whom we want to keep informed. It is about, we want to keep them informed that yes, guys, I have shared the message to him. And you are simply telling them by a piece of evidence, that is your mail, that I have sent it to. Next is BC. So BCC stands for blank carbon copy. I repeat, BCC stands for blank carbon copy. It is used when we do not want the other recipients to know that the someone else was copied on the message. For example, when we put CC, it is very clear that if you are the receiver, you can simply check out that the other person, right? I repeat, the other persons or those who have received the message can see, I mean, you can see it. But with blank carbon copy, you simply cannot see that who all have received the same message. For example, in any of the cities, let's just say in Shimla, I want to send the same message that all of them have won 1 lakh rupees of vouchers. But I don't want to disclose it to you that who all have won it, right? So what will I do? I simply will going to put BC and I will going to send it away to all those 100 people, but you as the sender will never ever come to know that to whom I have sent the same message. So in that scenario, you have to put blank carbon copy. Next is reply to. So this is the internet email address that will become the recipient of your reply if you click the reply button. So if you want to get a confirmation mail that am I the real one who is lucky enough to get that voucher of 1 lakh rupees. So you can simply ask this question. Therein you're going to have an option called as reply to, and you can reply, you can message the same person back. All right, while using this mail address which is mentioned as the send. All right, now let's talk about the body of an email. This part is exactly the same as the body of a regular letter, how we used to write letters, right? So in this very similar way, we have the body of the mail. Sometimes it contains a signature or automatically generated text that is inserted by the sender's email system. So herein, after you are done with framing up the body of the text, herein you have got the option of signature which you have mentioned there, and it will going to be generated automatically. You don't need to work upon it every now and then. It will be generated automatically. The header is separated from the body by a blank line. So there'll be a line, and post that the body of the mail will begin. I'll show you how it goes. Right. So herein, I think the image is not that much clear, but then let's just work it out. If you will see from, it is written as triple x at the rate xxx.com. So from is who? The one who has sent away the message. Now next is to. So to stands for all those who has received this message, right? Or a single one person can also go with. Next comes up with the date. Next is about the date. All right, that on which date it is being mentioned. Post that, and we have got the time also. Post that we have there, and there is a body with it. The whole part after that particular line will be called as body. And if you want to attach and file, let's just say a photograph or anything, so in that scenario, you have got an option of attachment and you can do that. Now, the body of a formal email includes the following. It includes greetings, it includes purpose, it includes action, attachment. Attachment, if you don't want to send any of the attachments, let's just say a music file or let's just say a picture or any of the documents, so that is simply an optional. Conclusion and signature. Signature needs to be there. This is the most important part of an email. Now, let's talk about the greeting. So you have to start your message like how we send a letter also, right? We send it by giving a beautiful pleasantry, right? So like good morning, good afternoon, hope you are healthy and hale and hearty. So that's how we send a greetings of pleasantry. But if you have a formal relationship with the other person, for example, your company or you're working for a company and you don't know the other person who is there out, so you have to have a very formal tone while beginning with the mail. Herein, for example, you have to say sir or ma'am. Now, if the recipient is senior to you or if you are in doubt, it would be safer that when you're talking to that person for the very first time, that to use the person's surname along with the title or address them as sir or madam. If you are talking to that person for the very first time, I mean, it is, preferably that we start talking to that person while using their surname. So let's just say, dear Mr. and Miss Donald, right? So in that scenario, we have simply used the surname. Now, start with the clear indication of what the message is about in the first paragraph. So your intention, your purpose needs to be very much clear in the purpose. Like, in the first paragraph itself, your intention should be indicated to the person who is reading the mail. Give full details in the following paragraph. So once you have disclosed your intention, after that you can simply give away the whole information in the next followed paragraph. Make sure that the following paragraph indicates what should happen next. And so you should be very clear that what should be, what is the result or what you are expecting from the other person. It is supposed to be followed next, right? So your purpose, your intention should be very sorted, should be very clear to the person who is reading the mail. Okay, here is an example. I will send a representative to your office on Tuesday morning to collect the faulty goods. So this is your intention that you are sending to the other person, that surely I will going to send away my representative to your office so that the concerned person can take away the faulty goods. Now, please deliver the goods by the beginning of the month. And the other information is being followed in the next paragraph. Now, the action. Any action that you want the reader to perform should be clearly described using polite phrases. So, you have to have a very polite tone while sending up a message. Subordinates should use expressions such as could you or I would be grateful if. So if you're asking for any of the information, so you have to be very polite. You can't be all rash and rude while asking for somebody you are in need of, right? So it is supposed to be very subtle. Superiors should also use the polite phrases like, okay, like please, will you send away the required information or whatever. So it is something which we all need to keep in mind, that the phrases which we are using needs to be very polite. Next is attachment. So make sure that you refer in the main message to any attachments you are adding. If you're adding up any of the attachments, let's just say any of the bills or any of the images, any of the data, you have to mention that in the body itself, that I am attaching one file along. I'm sending away one file along with this mail. The concerned person, if that person has not received that attachment, he can send it back to you. I mean, he can reply you back that, hey, I haven't received the attachment, right? So in that scenario, you have to mention in the body itself that I have added up the attachment. Include only text related documents. Try to include only text related documents. Okay. If you use an attachment, make sure the file name describes the content and is no too general. The name of the files should be very clear. For example, I'm sending away my own CV to you. So it should say like CV Sandra, like CV by Sandra or something like that. And it should not simply like message.doc. These are like the common errors which people usually make. And this attachment will be lost in those ample number of mails which we are getting, the documents which we are getting, right? So then the document which you're sharing, it should have a very clear and precise name with it, right? Now, end the message in a polite way. Throughout the message, you are supposed to be subtle, polite, and you need to have a great command over your language. You simply cannot go very harsh, or you simply can't use any of the informal language, because mail is a formal piece of writing. I repeat, mail is a formal piece of writing. Right. So how are we supposed to end our mails? We can simply write yours sincerely, regards, best wishes, best regards. So that's what we usually do when we write letters also. In the similar way, we have to go very polite. We need to have a great command over our language. We simply cannot compromise with our language. I repeat, we can't compromise with the language when it comes to email writing. Last one is signature. So include your name at the end of the message. You have to include your name. I repeat, you have to include your name if it is a formal, if you are having a formal conversation with the other person. So there needs to be your name, like you're signing off. So your signature needs to be there. Again, if you're working in a company, so your name along with your job title needs to be there. Example, thanks and regards Raghav Jain, Human Resources Manager. So herein we have simply used the, your sincerely or thanks and regards, whichever, like whatever way is comfortable for you, use that language, your own name, and then in which department you are working. Your own title needs to be there. All right. Next is this is all about how we have to write in mail. Now, what if I want to reply back to that particular mail? So again, we have to be very professional, have to be very courteous while replying or while sending away the mail to the other person, right? So you have to be professional and courteous by responding promptly to an email messages that you receive. Don't give a month's time or a day's time while you are responding to a mail. You have to be prompt and quick while replying back to the mail. Now, response uses the original text. For example, you want to copy the whole original text which you have received. So how are we gonna do it? It's very simple that you need to use the other color to reply back of the mail which you have received, right? It is often suggested to include the text of the original mail and then follow the original text with your response in a different color so that your edit text is recognized, right? You have to use a different color ink while you are sending away the mail. Sending away like you're replying back to that particular mail. You got it? You have to have it's simply an advice, right? If you think you can do it, if you think that the other person should know easily and promptly that, okay, this was my message and the one I have received it is from the other end. So that is for simplicity, that is for like simple recognition. Nothing hard and fast about this. It's simply not a rule, but a simple advice. If you think that you have written a long message or you have received a long message, so to simply differentiate between the two, you can simply use it. Now the guidelines. An effective mail is clear. You cannot go, all very not so clear. You are simply, beating around the bush. You want to convey a message, but then you are not coming to the point. No, we can't do that with email. Again, it's a piece of formal writing. Have to be concise. There should not be a huge, a story behind it. Have to be concise. The language, you have to be very precise with whatever you want. Your intentions should be sorted and clear, right? The language needs to be simple because you don't know how the other person, like what is, how the other person will going to understand it. The language needs to be simple and clarified enough that the other person can read it very clearly, right? Whatever you want to say, that should reach other persons. You need to keep in mind who is reading that message. Have to be organized. It's not simply like you have, discussed about your problem in the beginning and then you are simply saying hey, hi, and things like that. Have to be organized with whatever you want to convey. And you have to be to the point. Again, you can't cook a story there. This is a formal piece of writing. Again, before sending up a mail, you need to read it, right? There should be a proper proofreading before sending up a mail. So check for grammatical errors, spelling, clarity, and accuracy. right? So you need to be very certain that yes, I am super ready to send it away. My mail is ready to be shared amongst the lot, right? Because maybe you are working for a company and you are the representative, you are the face of that particular company. So don't mess it up. Read it maybe twice, thrice, till the time you're not confident enough. Don't share that. Okay. Check the structure of the mail. Email has to be recognized if the need arises, right? Now, here we have got an example. It's a sample one. For example, two. So as I have told you, two simply means the one who will going to receive the mail. I repeat, the one who will going to receive the mail. CC simply means carbon copy. If you want to send the same mail to other persons, other people, and you can simply check out all those, and the receiver can simply see to whom you have in kept in loop. Right. Now the subject is application for leave. So what is your intention? Why are you writing this mail? So that needs to be the part of your subject line. Next is greetings. As I have told you, you can't begin with your mail without using perfect greetings for it. Right? So as you have mentioned here, dear sir. Now, next comes, so this two CC and subject. This was all together your header. I repeat, this was all together was your header. Now here comes after header, we have dear sir, right? Just after the subject, there will be a line, and post that there will be a content called as dear sir, right? So this is simply your greeting. Now your intention, your purpose. This is to request you to grant me medical leave for 3 days. That is from 20th to 22nd of September 2020, as I am down with fever since Saturday evening, as I'm unwell, right? So this simply shows your purpose, that why you are writing this mail. I would like to consult a doctor today and take rest till I recover. I request you to sanction my leave. So I'm requesting you. I'm simply, that is my purpose of action, that why I have taken it, because I am going to discuss, I'm going to meet, I'm going to a doctor, right? So that is your action. Now, how do you sign off? You sign off with your name, right? With your designation. Your name is Jason Sanders. You are the Deputy Finance Officer. That is your designation. And in which company you are working, right? That is PCL Private Limited. So you do have to mention your name, your position, your designation, and your company in which you are working. All right. Now let's check out sample number two. Herein, what we have got, it simply says to Sunita Mishra at the rate gmail.com, right? So herein, what we have mentioned the receiver's email address. I'm repeating, what have we done? We have simply used we have to mention the receiver's email address. We have got no CC and no blank carbon copy here, right? Next up is your your subject. So I can clearly identify that why this person is writing, because this person has an intention of resigning from the job. So it simply means resignation letter. This simply means resignation letter, right? So herein we have mentioned that in the subject. Your intention needs to be clear in the subject itself. Here come the pleasantries. So what did you mention? Dear ma'am, right? Pleasantries need to be there. You can't begin with greetings. You simply can't. It's a formal piece of writing. So do keep that thing in mind. All right. Okay. Next comes is your body of the mail or your purpose. Please accept this mail as a notice that I am leaving my position with this organization. So you, whatever the subject was, you are simply making it very clarified here that now please accept this mail as a notice. This is simply talking about your purpose, right? That please accept this mail as a notice that I'm leaving my position with this organization. As per the norms of the company, I have to give a month's notice before resigning. So you are simply telling that you already know the norms of the company, that you have to give a notice prior before you are resigning from the job. I really appreciate and is thankful to the company for providing the opportunities that has helped me to grow. Wish you and the company the best in the future. Now, your action. What you want the company, to be to make it clear, like you want to clear your actions, you want to sort it out. Please let me know what to expect as far as my final work schedule and the employee benefits. Please let me know if in any case you need my assistance for any of my work. So kindly look into the matter, right? That's how you end your mail. You have to be clear, you have to be concise, and you have to be precise. Then here comes thanks and regards, right? This is supposed to be your closing. Thanks and regards, your name, which is Nancy, and your position or your designation, which simply says project head. So are we all clear? Let's just quickly revise what all we know about the emails. That this is the electronic messaging which is being used with via the help of internet. Right herein there are certain rules and regulations which we need to follow. That the sender's address there, right? Who will going to receive? It needs to be there. CC and BC simply stands for carbon copy and blank carbon copy. Then your subject should simply tells you about your own intention, right? The person who is reading it should know what that mail contains for him, right? So this needs to be very sorted, very clear in subject itself. Then you have to begin with pleasantries like respected sir, ma'am, dear ma'am, whatever. Like this is totally your call. Then here comes the next up is your own subject. All right. And post that we have got a ending, the closing. So you have to mention thanks and regards, your own name and your designation. All right. So with this, I am signing off with the topic of email writing. I hope you have enjoyed it. Right. Another thing, you can enroll yourself with Unacademy, and for that you can use my code, which is AMBIKA. And I assure you, I promise you that you will going to get a discount on that. So please enroll yourself. With this, I simply want to say take care, and these are tough times, and we have to live here with the full happiness. And I genuinely hope that you will take care of you and of your own family.